application moment.
Application moment.
Application moment.
Application moment.
Application moment.
Application moment. Application moment.
Application moment.
Application moment.
Right. Action.
Hello viewers, we are once again welcome to Application Moment. Application Moment is where we ask questions and learn about what was preached during service with Pastor Emmanuel Abuaje. And for today's episode, there's this interesting topic that everyone needs to know, especially Christians. You need to know from the biblical point of view why we need to do things. So before we get to the topic, I would like to introduce you to our abled panelists here. First of all, we have our Pastor Emmanuel Abuaje, to answer most of our questions about the topic that was preached today. Pastor, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. And then we have our dear sister who is going to ask most of the questions for it to be answered. She is in the person of Araba. Araba, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. So the topic is very interesting, so interesting. And it is why talented people fail. We are going to ask questions about it, and I know you would learn more. So I hand over to Araba /Shutik.
Okay, it's my Anna. So my first question is, who is a talented person? And what's the difference between a talented person and a gifted person? Are they the same?
So in the secular world, we use the word talent, but in the Christendom is gifts. And so they are the same. So that is so in the Christianity when we say gifts, it's the same thing as talent. Yes.
Okay. And the next thing I want to find out is, how do I identify my talent as a Christian? And how do I grow my talent?
So, talent is something that is raw until you have started using it. And so in the process of taking responsibilities, you get to find out that it's easy. Certain things come to you with ease. You are able to apply certain things better. So that's what I'm saying, it's raw. You apply your talent to things. So as you are applying it, it makes you know that, okay, this area I'm more talented in it. There are people who are very, very talented in singing. So they have to try to sing first. So when you try to sing, you get to know that, I have a good voice. I can sing. I have that gift. I can sing. Some people will realize, okay, I can memorize stuff. I can be more analytical. So but gifts or talents come in different dimensions. It can be represented in maybe in your thinking. It can be represented in the way you do things. And some people will realize, okay, I have the gift of cooking because they tried cooking. So you have to take the initiative to make you understand or identify the specific gifts and talents that you have. But I can assure you that there's nobody who is born without a gift or talent. Yes.
I want to ask a follow-up question on that. You see, the person doesn't know that he has a specific talent, this or that talent. How would the person know? Is he going to just have a vision or a dream that he was singing or cooking or doing this kind of business, that's why he has that talent? Or is someone else going to point it out? Because there's been instances where, for example, acting, I didn't know I could act. So, new creation, the president will force everyone, will push you to the point that you do your best. And that's when we all found out that we have that extra talent, apart from the singing or playing of instruments. So what about the person who is not, who doesn't have anyone to point out to him? Or is that the person will never meet anyone to point that thing out?
You see, talent or gifts are something we discover. You find it out of a discovery. It's because there's something that projects it. Okay, so acting is not necessarily your talent. But acting is what you are applying your talent to. So you realize that you fit best, your talent work best with this interface. So for instance, if you have a gift of, let's say you could do artistic, so that artistic things are skill. They are those things that bring your talent out. That's why I say talent are intangibles. They are things, they are raw. They are the enablements. They are certain abilities in you that you can use for anything. So once you use Photoshop, then people will say, oh, you are talented. But it's the Photoshop that is making us see the kind of talent you have. I hope you get what I'm saying. So, but you have to understand that it's out of the discovery that you know that you can do this, or you can do that, and you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Are you getting what I'm saying? Yeah. So, how did I know I can preach? Is by trying. And they give opportunities, and I take it, and I realize, okay, this works. And then I do other things. I don't, this doesn't work, and then it moves on and more. Sometimes you need to apply it more. Then you become perfect with that kind of particular stuff. Yeah.
So, do you discover it through your interest towards that particular talent?
It's initiatives. Like you said, you were given a responsibility to act, but you never, perhaps it might not be your interest, but you took the challenge and you did it. Then you realize that, oh, wow, I can do it. And so interest is something that has to be done deliberately. Interest follow performance. Because if you are getting results, you may begin to get interest in it. You get what I'm saying? And because you have talent, yes, of course, certain things will be attractive to you. There are things that are attractive to people, but they don't even have the talent for it. So it's not necessarily interest. But that's why I say it's a discovery. And maybe at a certain stage in your life, you see that you can do this thing better. And it's also out of the innovation and creativities that are coming. Now, in this our digital era, people are discovering their talent in different ways. You get what I'm saying? It's different from the way maybe in the 1960s and 1950s, the way people discovered their talent. Because certain things that could have allowed them to know what their talents are were not available then. So what the resources they had, I know people who said they are very talented in weeding, so we say, okay, I'm very talented in weeding. But nowadays, people will say that, because they are now combined harvesters, they are now tools that are making people, the work is being done. Somebody will say, me, I can wash. So you say, sometimes I can hear some things. This lady, she can wash. And you say, well, does she have the talent of washing? No. It's because of what she's applying the talent to. So you can apply your talent to different things. Like, let's say if there were not anything like engineering, what other things would you have done? It gives you an idea of multiple things you can apply your talent to. You see, for example, if you are gifted with analytical intelligence, there are so many things you can do. You can do medicine, you can do engineering, you can be an accountant, you can be a financial expert. So you can apply. So talent is applied to things. Yes. So you actually applied your talent to the acting. It doesn't mean the acting is your talent. If there's no acting, you can still live on. You can still apply your talent to something else and still be successful. Yeah.
During the message period, Mark chapter 11, verse 12 to 15, when Jesus got to the fig tree, it had only leaves on the tree, but then it was not the fig tree's season to bear fruit, but yet still Jesus cursed the tree. How do we handle demand on our gifts when it is unexpected or it is not due for fruit bearing? How do we apply our talent to such a demand?
So first of all, you should know that there will be a time that there will be a demand. So yours is to always prepare out of season and in season. Number two, if there is a demand on your gifts or talents, it's about creativity. You have to be creative and very innovative. You see, people who react to things do not usually become successful, but people who are proactive, they always think ahead that, okay, this is what is going to happen. One day I can be called upon to preach. So why don't I begin to prepare sermons? One day I'll be called upon to do a presentation. So why don't I build my skills in the presentation? And so those are the things. For the demand, they will come. But when they come, you have to be creative and innovative. So creativity and innovation is the secret or is how we respond to such demands. Yes. Yeah. So you can be selling something and then all of a sudden somebody say, maybe you cook, and the person asks you, can you do something like fried rice and jollof combined? You already know how to do jollof. You already know how to do fried rice. Okay, can I do something together? Then you do. So creativity makes you meet. And then your capacity. And usually when there is a demand on your talent, it's not only on your talent, but it's also placing demand on your whole capacity that you have. And for that reason, you have to prepare ahead of time always. And that it will help you to really respond effectively. Yeah.
About the fig tree, yeah, I've heard this explanation that the reason why Jesus cursed the fig tree was it didn't have fruit on it, but it had leaves on it, so it was a deception. So that's why Jesus cursed it. Is it an error interpretation, or that's the reason, or it's just from people's perception?
Well, when it comes to the word of God, people can apply it to different things. So the interpretation is not necessarily is wrong, but that is the interpretation at that moment is applying to something. But I mean, so many things are green without fruits. I mean, every plant become green before they bear the fruit. So it's not necessarily a deception. But because of the revelation and the interpretation is given to the scripture, it can be valid based on the context of which is being given. Yeah.
So there are instances people figure out that they are good at music in church. Yet when they join the choir, they don't seem to be successful in music. My question is, how do you handle gifts and talent when you feel you are putting in your best, yet you are not making progress? In such a situation, do you fall on faith, or there is something the person needs to look out for?
Okay, so with every problem, you have to find the root cause. So you have to start ruling out some few things. So you know you are talented. Maybe you have the gift of singing. So if you have the gift of singing, then the problem is not a gift. So you rule the gift out. Number two, every gift needs a platform. So the Greek word for gifts, one of the meaning is theatrics, performance. So you need a stage to perform. So even if the stage is wrong and your gift is right, you can still have problem. You might not perform well. So you need the right and appropriate platform to exhibit your gifts. So once you get the right platform and you have assessed it and you see it is the right platform you have and you're still not seeing the results, then you rule the platform out. And then you can look at, is it about my training and development? Because one, there is the gift and there's a person who is carrying the gift. You also need development. You need the skill, the tips and tricks and the skills that are involved in ministering. For instance, if you have a gift of singing, it's not just open your mouth and sing. There are voice trainings. There are ways that you have to know your parts and all that. Those come through training. If the issue is not training, then you can look at tools. Maybe it's the microphones that I'm using that is not making me sing well. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. So you have to really look at various issues that may affect, maybe there are external factors that may affect your performance. Once you begin to solve them, you see that your performance begin to improve. Okay. You may not necessarily solve all, but you should be able to gradually, it's in my slide anyway, it's as we move on, you see that you have to do continuous improvement. So you solve the issues as you move on, because you might not get the resources or the money to solve all at once. Okay. But you can solve them as you solve one after the other. You will see that you'll be improving. The way I preached some time ago, when I was in the university, I was preaching in the lecture theaters. My performance today is better than those times, because those times we didn't get access to many information. But now I have access to a lot of information. A lot of platforms are coming which can aid me to do my research and to be able to empower my knowledge to do what I'm doing. So I'm performing better because I'm solving some of the issues that are hindering performance in my context. Yes.
So that means we can encourage people who probably have the talent but yet are not seeing progress to keep pushing and find the solutions to these basic problems. Okay, thank you. The other thing I have here is how to create value with my talent in the church. And does the church have room for everyone to offer value within a particular ministry?
So like what I said, that talent is a raw stuff. Talent is like faith. You apply it to something. So if somebody is a medical doctor, it doesn't mean that that's the only thing he or she can do on this earth. If he doesn't get medicine, he or she can apply it to maybe engineering, or can apply it to maybe aerodynamics or aero engineering. You get what I'm saying? So when you come to church, maybe there's a particular thing you have been applying your talent to that you are so familiar with, but when you came to the church, there wasn't anything like that. You can find another area to apply your talent, and even that becomes an addition. You get more options, you get more keys to even survive. You get what I'm saying?
Please.
So what happens is that we need to link talent to value always. So what value do I want to create in the church? Do I have the talent for that? Okay, so I am adding value to the church because I'm preaching, right? And the preaching I'm preaching and teaching I'm teaching is because I have the talent to do that. Now, let's say I join the choir. If I don't link that my talent to the value I want to create, and let's say I say, I join the choir, I might not be very successful. You see, so first I have to identify which part in the church that I can directly link my talent to create value. And certainly you'll find something there. If it is not there, create one.
And that becomes a new ministry in church.
Yes, you create one. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have something?
Okay. Yeah, you said if you want God to bless you more, you have to. It is linked to your ability or the capacity that you built. Is it? Can I link it to this scripture? Faith without works is dead. So you have to add your faith to the works that you do to increase what God has given you, and He will bless it to multiply. Can it be linked to that?
Yes. So if you have, like I said, talent is like faith, so you can technically link it to it. So if you have talent and you don't work it out, the talent you don't become skillful in the usage of your talent. So your talent is your asset. It's like a sword. You have to use it often. Any tool you have to use it often. So once you use it, then you know how best you apply your talent to stuff. You see, when I was growing as a young believer, it was very difficult. I didn't think I could preach. When I see people speaking, I go like, okay, can I speak like that? And there's that tension. I remember I was doing a drama some time ago, and nobody even heard what I said. I'm the only one who heard what I said. Your capacity, ability has range of things that contribute to your capacity or ability. However, the scripture of faith without works is that faith is like talent. Like I said earlier, they are all you apply. We won't see your faith unless you have applied it to something. We won't know your talent unless you have applied it to something. We won't know you have that innate ability to do art if you don't apply it to an artwork. And so I was when I was going in the Lord, there were so many things when I see people talking, speaking, I go like, wow, can I speak like that? I had a lot of fear, and there's a tension. When I pick the mic, my voice will be shaking and all that. But as I did, I kept using it. I became more skillful in the application of my talent to speaking. You see. So I remember sometimes when we have prayer meeting, they say, has anybody gotten revelation? I say yes. Something came into my mind. So I say yes. And then I say something. And so it helped me in my prophetic. ministry aspect, because I can also really prophesy. I mean, I don't mean like I want to do it as a ministry, but that prophetic gift is there. So how did I develop it? I developed it by taking initiatives. So they say, have you seen anything? And I remember when we were going, my mother would say at our morning devotion, has anybody dreamt? Do anyone has any vision to tell us? And then my younger brother would be explaining his like a movie and all that. We're learning it. So once you keep learning how to apply your talent, you become very skillful in the application of it. Yes.
I think this will be my last question, but if there are any lead question, I would go ahead. So Jesus, so the master gave the servants talent to work with, and the one who had one went to hid his. In my perspective, I was thinking much about it. Could it be that there was an obstacle that prevented him from using the talent? Now, my question is, in the church, most of the time, you meet people who are shy, people who are not comfortable standing before crowd. Some of these things hinder a lot of people from getting involved in church activities or taking a bold step to be to present their talent out. Which best way can we attend to these people to draw them nearer to showing up their talent? And then how can we break that barrier of shyness so that people can boldly take initiatives in the house of God?
So shyness it's like psychological, because of your internal fears. You're having an internal conflict. You're having some prejudices. So you prejudice certain situations, it creates a perception for you, and you pick the wrong stimuli, or you organize certain things in your mind that it's not really helping you. The reason why this gentleman who hid his talent, he had an opinion of himself. He had an opinion of himself. He had an opinion about his master. And so it prevented him from doing what he has to do. When you look at the rest, the Bible said immediately they went to work with it. They had self-confidence. They had confidence that they could perform. So immediately they went to work with it. The other one felt like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. This master is not tricking me. I can't do anything. That's why I mentioned that when you have a gift, the master is expecting you use the gift. You see, you have to burn your bridges anyway. So you have to have in mind that, okay, so for instance, if I'm supposed to come and preach and I don't have nobody's there to preach apart from me, I have no choice, isn't it?
Yes.
I burned my bridges. I have to jump into it. Whether it is good or not, whatever I do, I have to preach. So those are the things. You have to deal with the opinion about yourself, about the inferiority complex you have. And then you have to sharpen your skill, because it's the skill that brings the talent out. So for instance, if you are shy in speaking, all you have to do is to learn public speaking. And so what are the skills that I can learn so I can speak effectively in public? They are there. I know someone who is a stammerer, but she learned to give speeches in public without not stammering even one. And one day she was interviewed, she said that I learned to swear some words. So there are some words that make me not talk well. So when that word is coming to my face, I swerve it and use an alternative word. So people have developed skills to do that. Some people deal with their shyness by speaking louder. Some people deal with their shyness by walking around. Some people deal with their shyness by taking points at a time. So you have to learn how well you can apply your talent. And it's a craftsmanship, it's not duplicatable easily. And the way I have learned to preach and preach well might be different from another pastor. You get what I'm saying? Yes. So sometimes, okay, I look at my video, I say, it looks like, is that me? I have that such confidence. No, maybe I'm a shy person. I'm shy. You don't believe I'm shy.
No.
So you learn how to apply your talent by you yourself discovering the way to practically navigate your way or handle your talent in terms of the application to other things. Yes.
Okay. So I have exhausted my
Okay.
questions.
Okay. From the master's perspective in the Bible about the talent, he said the master perceived them as good, as they're able to work with the talent that is given to them. And he said, within the good, it can mean so many things. It can mean they are beneficial, usefulness, excellent, distinguishedness, and then the slothful. Can you expatiate on that one? Why you added the slothful?
Because of the last man. Because you see, when people are recruiting, they have a criteria for the job. We call it job criteria. So the person has something he's looking at to select. So in this case, he looked at their ability. Bible says he gave them the talent according to their ability. So he looked at that. What is the person's capacity? I want to invest, but does this person have capacity? Let me give you an example. Warren Buffett wanted to get someone, a CEO for one of his company, and his company was worth $2 billion. That particular company was worth $2 billion. So he was looking for someone who had managed something close. So he found a guy who has managed a company over $500 million before. So the guy won the slot. He got that portfolio and managed it. So he looked at their person's ability. So some of the ways people fail is when they have something that is beyond their ability. In management, we call it the Peter's principle. The Peter's principle says that everybody performs till they get to their level of incompetence. And so when I get to a certain point in my training, in my leading, I get to a point where I don't have the capacity or the ability to execute at a certain level. So it means that I can't go further. I'm going to crash. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. So what happens? So you have to build it. The one gave one, his master knew that this guy, he's slothful. So that is what the master said about him. He looked at their ability to work hard and their ability not to work hard. He looked at both. So in job criteria, we have job criteria models. We have people who are high autonomy and we have low autonomy. We have people who are high variety skill. We have people who have low variety skill. We have people who are tax significant high and tax significant low. There are some people without supervision, they can't work. They are low autonomous people. There are people, so you, the one who is appointing, must look at all that. This job that I need someone who will be autonomous. I need someone for this job who does not need supervision. You don't go and give it to somebody who needs supervision. The person will fail. So the master was a good recruiter. So he knew all of them. Let's assume he gave the 5 to this one guy. He would have gone and hit all the 5. And the master would have made a lot of losses. And so whilst we are doing selection, we look at all that. We look at the people's natural tendencies to do something. It's called an aptitude. That's why we do aptitude tests. And so aptitude means your natural tendency of doing something. So that is why I added slots for, because it's part of the person is a guy, is a low, in fact, he's a slothful person. He doesn't get results for what he's been given. He's slow to it. His productivity is low.
Okay, so why would the Bible states that the master gave one, knowing that the guy is thoughtful? Why didn't he give him nothing so that he saves him?
No, but he's his worker. You God is fair. I mean, he's always giving us opportunity. You see, all the talents that was given to them was not given to them because he wanted them to remain at their current capacity. It was given to them so that they can increase their capacity to another level. Remember, there was somebody with 2 capacity, which means the person was before 1. Because from the story, you get that assumption. The one who was given 5 came with extra 5. So it became what? 10, which means that guy has increased his capacity from 5 to 10. The guy who had 2 increased his own, added additional 2. So he has increased his capacity to what? 4. So he was giving that last guy an opportunity. Always we leave certain doors open that will give you the second chance to see whether you can bounce back or you can do something about it. Most often, we get people like the last guy. No matter the opportunity you give them, Bible said wisdom is high for the fool. And he said that if you grind a fool in a mortar, his folly won't leave him. So there are people, no matter how many times you give them opportunity, they do not change. So the master did it deliberately, I suppose, that he was giving that guy opportunity to increase his capacity. Any tax that comes to you is there to help you increase your capacity. You get what I'm saying? I have handled so many things. I've done church in the village. I've gone to the village, planted a church. I've done that. I've pastored a church of large people. I have started a church before. Now, I was given a challenge to start a church in the mall. And when I was starting the church, I have never run a church where I have paid a rent 3,000 before. So I took the challenge of, okay, starting a church where I'm going to pay rent of 3,000. I go like, wow, rent 3,000 a month. That is huge. And you are going to start with no member. Whether you like it or not, the month will come to an end, you have to pay. I get it. It's not like they have paid the rent for you. Like in some cases, they pay like 2 years rent, 3 years rent, 5 years rent. So you know you have room to maneuver. But this is the case. I'm going to do a postpaid. So I use the venue at the end of the month. Come and pay 3,000. And it was a challenge. It was a challenge that was thrown to me. So when I started the church, the first month, by God's grace, we were able to pay. And it went on like that and it went on like that. Okay. So when we were supposed to come to this place, they said, okay, we are going to pay a more higher rent. Somebody like me and someone who has in his church is paying rent of 300 cities, who has the natural tendency of solving. If let's say now they say, okay, I should pay a rent of 10,000. Someone has never paid a rent of even 1,000 before. And then me, I have paid a rent up to about 7,000 every month. And they say they want to give us the opportunity. Who do you think can handle it better?
Who has a tendency to pay the higher price?
Yes. Because when I took up the challenge, I have never done that before, but it has built my capacity to handle it. So certain tasks that come to us are not coming to us because God wants to kill us. The Bible said that He will not bring any temptation to you that is beyond you. But rather, He will also make a way out, which means that He's going to give you a bigger capacity. So me, I love challenge. If somebody say, okay, look, Pastor Waju want you to raise $10 million. Wow, I love it. Because I've never raised $10 million. So I'll go like, wow, this is going to build my capacity. If I feel, he who has fallen fear no fall. I've never been there before. So if I fail, everybody will understand. But I love the challenge. If I'm able to achieve it, wow. I remember when my first time I wanted to drive intercity. Like maybe, let's say, Kumasi to Accra. In the morning, I said I'll go in the morning, then I have to drive around, still gaining the courage. Then I gathered the courage and then I went. Then once I went to the car, I said, wow, I've done it. That was the end. I've always drove intercities. Wherever you say I should go, Temali, I'll drive. And I'll drive. Go there, I'll drive. But it all started with the point by me taking up the challenge. And that bill gave me a bigger capacity. So when you see somebody is 1,000 here, it's because that is his capacity. God will bring an opportunity for the person to increase his capacity from 1,000 to maybe 10,000. There will be a business opportunity. Maybe you have never headed a department before. God will bring the opportunity and say, okay, look, you are the assistant something. He's giving you opportunity. Yes. When I was in my one after SS, I think the biggest I was there as a GAMSU coordinator, secretary. Then my school father's friend, who was a dining hall professor, said, why won't you go for dining hall professor? And I said, oh, Bami, I'm small. They said, oh, no, don't mind, you can go. Then I went for the vetting, they gave it to me, the head of dining hall. And then I had to work with about 8 different prefects, and I was the head. I bow down your head for first grace. I say those kind of things. I said, I was give me confidence. I finished SS, went to the university. Then moving through, they said I will become council president. They said I went for a birthing, they said I should become a council president. Council president is 2,500 students. Then I remembered my DHP. I've been a DHP before, but it's an opportunity to stretch. And that position stretched me. I learned to be independent decision maker. I learned to not independent, but the right word is autonomous. High autonomous person at GAMSU. Why? Because in GAMSU, I was the final decision maker. So if it's going to crash, it's going to crash. It's not like I have somebody behind who will say, oh, okay, I'm coming to your aid. No. For GAMSU UCC Local, I was the final decision maker. So if there's no money, I have to find it. If there's no money, I have to make decision for it. Whatever. So I learned, so when I came to this church, I've never gone to it because I have learned to be autonomous. You see, I've learned because I learned it from somewhere. So I can push you on stage. They say, oh, how about come and sing? Then that day, Florence is not there, Ernest is not there, Sandra is not there. And Araba is the only choir member who is around. They say, okay, but we all can sing. You are the choir member. So go and sing. That one, you have no choice, isn't it so?
Yes.
So you will definitely be back. You do and you discover, wow, I didn't know I can do that. And people even build, there's a story about an airline company that built an airline. They didn't know the airline could do some things until a pilot drove it, flew the thing and did some styles. They said, wow, can you do this? So sometimes we don't know the capacity we have. We don't know what we can do unless we are given a challenge. So the best way to really discover it is to take responsibility. If you take responsibility, it's an opportunity to apply your talent to see how it works.
Okay, she already mentioned asked questions about obstacle.
Yes.
That's with the person trying to give out the talent. What about obstacles, external obstacles?
Mm-hmm.
You want to give your talent, you want to give your best, maybe a new workplace.
Yeah.
You've discovered some problems, you want to bring up a solution, but they are not receiving, they are not welcoming it. You tell me that this place, this is how it's done. Don't mind you. Then bosses won't mind you. So you join the crowd. So if you want to really push with it, are you going to continue staying there? Because sometimes it's difficult to get work currently. Are you going to continue to stay there and follow the rest? Or you're going to continue to push till you get the solution to the problems there? Okay,
so anytime there's an obstacle, what you do is that you develop a plan to navigate the obstacle. You should have a plan. Obstacles are there to overcome. They are also there to differentiate us. They are always there to differentiate us. When you check through the Bible, any great person has met obstacles. It's something that you meet every time. Dealing with external factors, you have to always use your internal factors to control external factors. If I say I'm going to talk about it, it's going to take a long time. So there are a lot of skills. You need to develop your political competences. There are skills you need to develop to deal with it. You get what I'm saying? People who have caused revolution have managed to do it despite the odds. And so, for instance, if you have political, maybe the way you are approaching it. Let me give you an example. When I was a youth leader in the Methodist Church, when we go to leaders' meeting, I want to push an agenda. So I lift my hand at leaders' meeting and say, this is what the youth want to do. This is what the youth, and then they won't mind me. And I want to say, when you bring any idea, they don't pick up. So one day, the superintendent minister called me into his office. He said, Abuadi, you are very enthusiastic, but your approach is not good. If you want to do anything, you have any idea, come and discuss with me first. If you discuss with me, I'll ask all my questions with you. Convince me first, then you bring it to leaders' meeting. So I picked that model. So anytime I have any idea, I go to him. We talk about it. And they say, okay, fine, it's good, let's do it. Then when I come to leaders' meeting, I will lift my hand. They say, oh, we have this idea. And then he will say, who disagree? No one. Okay, we'll do it. Then I realized I was becoming successful with my political competence. So I always tell leaders that, look, if you want to execute something, don't go straight and execute it. Negotiate with all the people involved. Let it be a good story. And sometimes our storytelling is the issue. Now, for any leader to be successful, he has to have a linguistic intelligence, have to tell stories nicely. Oh, Florence, there's this idea I have. So I'm looking at your interest. Okay, I shared a story with you. And it's okay, wow, it's a good story. I can also join. It's something I would want to do. Then the person joins. Then you go to each and every one. You test them. You see they have various. If you go and say them, because they all have different interests, they won't mind you. They will fight it. So you can't be successful now without political competence. You can't be successful now without linguistic intelligence. When I say linguistic intelligence, what I mean here is you have to frame a good story. Then gradually, and make sure that you have spoken to people you already know. Now, let me give you an instance. Anything that is new, even your body, is designed in such a way that anything new, it can reject. If I come and I bring a weird, I say, oh, Araba, I want us to jump from a building, I'll give you a parachute. I will say, no. It's new to her. She will immediately reject it. But I have to talk to, oh, look, I have understand this parachute you think, and you want to try. And I will say, okay, this is dangerous. So I come first time, second time. I say, look, I come and show her videos. Look at this, is that. Let's start from a wall. Then let's start from a wall. She will say, okay. After pursuing for that, she will say, okay, I'll try. Let's start from this stage. Then she will jump one. There's that two. They say, oh, it's testing. Okay, then let's go to a hill. Before I realized, Abba is into it. So, if you do that, you get people, you have to talk to people gradually. It shouldn't be a new thing to them. If I say one, the second time I'll come, their mind has registered it. They will say, I've heard it before. Then it can be a good idea. Look, there was this man, there's a book called The Heart of Change. There's this man who was very, very head of department, very difficult. When the CEO is bringing any change, he resisted. When he's bringing any change, he resisted. So they didn't know what to do. So what they did was that, they said, okay, let's take him for a training in a company where they are already doing it. Let's let him work in the company for 1 month. So they arranged with that company, and he went there, and then he worked with them. Said that place is not a boss, so he went there, he worked with them. When he came back, he said, boss, I have seen a way we can do this. And he came to champion the thing that the CEO has to do. So when you want to cause a change, it's not a walk in the park. You have to do several things. You have to gather the skill to do a change. Now, you have to understand that when we say change, somebody has to leave something for a new thing. And it's difficult. They said everybody don't like a change unless it's theirs. And so they have to compromise. They have to leave something for it. And so it's not going to be easy for you. And they have to move from an old tradition into a new tradition. There are so many obstacles in their mind, cost and all that. So it's not something, especially if it's a large scale change. And if you want to do it effectively, you have to do small change. And sometimes you say things nobody understands unless you have done it. You see, unless you have done it, then people say, oh wow, okay, this is how it means. Like when I wanted to expand, a lot of people didn't know what I want. I explained to them and all that. Dr. Jeff said, okay, I have never seen expand before. So Pastor, can you explain? I said, okay, let's do this. So after we have done the first expand, now people know what expand is. So next year, if I'm going to do expand, people will say, okay, we know what expand is. You see that they will be champion in it and I'll be watching. So then I say, okay, we want to do this. They will say, okay, yeah. Oh, we've seen this man before. Now they already know the standard. Okay, we need to get this, we need to get that. So change is not easy. Yeah.
Any closing remarks?
Yeah. I want to say that since we are Christians and we should be agents of change in our institutions, in organizations, I would entreat that we take this knowledge and apply it to our work. We should be seeing excellence in what we do in our offices, as well as in the church, in our homes. so that the talent God has put in us would not go to waste. Yeah.
Very powerful. Pastor, do you have any closing remarks?
Oh, your closing remarks are my closing. Yeah. So we want you to follow the series. It's you can get a full audio from the media, and then you can follow it. And I believe it's going to really help you to become more successful in executing your talent. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So viewers, now we know why talented people fail. It's possible for talented people to fail. And as we've explained with questions being answered, you now know why talented people fail. And I hope you've gotten and you've learned a lot of things from it. If you want the full preaching of what we've discussed here, you can comment that you want some. And our page is CCC Kumasi City Mall. As you watch it, you can comment that you want the full audio. Then those in charge would get it for you wherever you are. Those in charge will get it for you, and to be a blessing. We talked about so many things, and I personally have been blessed. You can also follow us on or subscribe to our page on YouTube, CCC Kumasi City Mall, and Instagram and Twitter, CCC_KCM. And at this point, be blessed. Have a nice week. God bless you.